Alrighty, well, then I guess we should get started here. Looks like we got a decent crowd on Zoom and a decent crowd in the room. So let's start with a few visitors. I hear that we've got two people in Lone Tree who are new to us, Larry and Dirk. If you would, one at a time, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what kind of photography you do, how you found us, and what you might expect to get out of a camera club.
I guess I'll go first. I'm Dirk Nyland, live over in the Roxborough area. And what I expect to get out of this is, I don't know, you guys give me all your free stuff. No, not really. I just got back into photography probably about 4 months ago. I used to do it probably 30 years ago. And I retired, and my wife said I need to get a hobby. And so I enjoyed it back then. And so now it's just getting up to speed with all the different types of equipment that didn't exist back then when you were shooting film and dark rooms and all of that stuff. And I mean, obviously there's some similarities, but there's a whole lot of learning Lightroom and Photoshop and printers and all this other crap. And the cameras are so much better than they ever existed back then. What else did you need to know? I guess. Questions?
Yeah, I think that about covers it, sir. Thanks for showing up here. I know that you filled out the Zoom request on the meeting request on our website, so that's how you found
Yes.
it.
You bet. You
All
bet.
right. Well, glad to have you, and hope that you're impressed with our club and will decide to join us.
Thank
And
you.
Larry?
Yes, I'm Larry Hughes, and I'm from Parker. I just recently picked up a good camera, and I haven't really done much shooting since late high school, so that's been quite a while ago. And same thing, I love the electronics, I love the advancements. Being able to transfer pictures to the computer should be a lot of fun. And my interest is going to be more macro photography than landscaping and things of that nature.
Fantastic. Well, thank you also for joining us. And if you pop on our website or go hit our YouTube channel, we had a presentation last year on macro photography that you might find interesting. So
Okay.
feel free to check out. It's a free resource that you can access. And let's see, on Zoom, don't see any of our guests, but I will recognize Monica. Hello, welcome. She's a new member. And I think I saw Laura in Lone Tree also. Did you wander in?
That's a new member.
Yep. Yes, thank you folks for joining us. We're glad to have you. Glad you're part of the crew. So this evening's topic is shot with a phone. Basically, it's like an open competition. Your subject matter could be whatever you want. The only criteria was it had to be shot with a phone. And I would like to say thank you to the few people that I requested an original image or something so I could double check the XF data and make sure that it was a phone image. We want an even playing field here, folks. But we did have a decent number, 41 people, or excuse me, 41 images were submitted for this competition here. And the criteria for this month was fairly simple. Basically, that everybody has an iPhone or phone in their pocket or their purse at all times. So take it out and use it this month. Built-in camera apps are very capable, and tools like Lightroom Mobile, Snapseed, and many others expand those capabilities if you decide to shoot and edit all on your phone. I don't know how many of you did edit on your phone. I know a few people did. A number of folks obviously use Lightroom or Photoshop, and that's perfectly fine too. Key thing here was get out, shoot with your phone, do something a little different. Something where you don't have a 400 millimeter lens or something like that. Our judge this evening, which a number of you in Lone Tree have been introduced to, is Cliff Lawson. Cliff is a longtime member of Focus Camera Club, has judged for us a few times before. He was nice enough to send me this little bio today. Cliff has been a member of Focus for almost 21 years, having joined in June of 2003. He's been involved in photography since college and began doing professional work since 2004. He holds 2 advanced degrees from the Professional Photographers of America That would be Master of Photography and Photographic Craftsman, as well as the Certified Professional Photographer designation. While he has interest in many different photographic areas, his professional work is portraiture, including high school seniors, individuals, families, and corporate headshots. He has attended the PPA's Judges School and evaluates images along the guidelines of the 12 elements of a merit image, something which members of Focus should be well familiar with. Cliff also worked for a few years at Wolf Camera under a very demanding boss.
Aaron is a real pain in the.
Yeah, was that was that line a test, Cliff, to see if I would actually say it?
I didn't think you'd actually say it, but good for you.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, a number of people who have been in the club for a while know the story, but I used to manage the Wolf Camera store in Parker way back when Wolf was actually a thing. And Cliff, along with a few other folks, Frank Gibbs, Guy Jolie, and Randy, worked for me. And yes, I was somewhat of a demanding boss, but we were able to take that store from $450,000 the first year that I was there to $620,000 2 years later. So I think we did okay.
I think we did. You're right.
Yep. Yeah, we had a lot of loyal customers there. It was had a great crew. I appreciate Cliff and the other guys.
We had fun.
Yes, indeed.
And you met Dan and Todd. Yeah, in fact, because of Wolf, we got Dan in here, right? That was through Wolf. Oh, yeah. Yeah. First guy was here. You I met at swimming. Yeah. Yeah, I've recruited a couple people. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
In my case.
Okay, so the competition images will be shown one at a time. I will announce the title. Cliff will give his critique, and then we'll stop every once in a while for the 9s and the 10s and talk to the makers about them. And if we go too long, I don't know, we've got 41 images, so it depends on how long or short the descriptions are, but we may take a little break in the middle of this also. And since I don't see Bob here, Fred, I assume that you're the one doing the Lightroom tonight?
I'm going to attempt to do it.
Okay. Cliff, do you have anything to say to anyone before you jump in?
Well, I mean, like any judge, you know, it's just my personal opinion. It's just the judge's opinion. So the score I give your image has nothing to do with your worth as a human being, either positive or negative. And I do kind of stick with the stuff I learned as a PPA when I went to their school, which a lot of the judges that we have done that. So that's something I think most people are aware of. So other than that, no, I'm ready to go.
All right, this is just our calibration image. We show this briefly just so the people on Zoom and in the room can take a look at it. You know, if it appears to be slightly undersaturated, off color a little bit, because Zoom does kind of mess up our images a bit. Just know that, you know, the images you'll be looking at this evening may also look just slightly off.
I give it a 6. It's too busy.
Yeah, I believe that's a good one. Let's make sure everybody on Zoom is muted and we'll go. Shiprock.
This is really a nice image, and the brown toning, is really a nice touch on this rather than going with straight black and white. There is, if you look at the left side of Shiprock there is some white fringing around there, and the sun is to our right, so there really shouldn't be any light on that. It might be from a little over sharpening. On the other hand, some phones tend to kind of over sharpen, so I think I'm just going to ignore that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that, but that halo is there. By the way, there's an easy way to fix that. If you put your clone stamp on darken and sample from the sky is darker than the halo, but lighter than the mountain, and you can get rid of that halo with just a couple of strokes with the clone stamp sent to darken. Set it at about somewhere between 30 and 50%. Works like a charm. But I would give this, pardon me, I'll give this an 8.
Zooming by.
I really like this. This is almost a graphic image, really. I mean, it's overexposed, Well, I've seen the image. You know that dark stretch of tile there at the top really sets this image off. The blue at on that the left side there, the blue in the train kind of offset all of the other warmer colors, the kind of browns. This is very creative. I'm gonna give this a 10. This is really a very dynamic image. I like this a lot.
Mountain Getaway.
I'm so glad you made this in black and white. This is really a dynamic image. The leading line there coming in from about the mid right, that ridge going right up to the building at the top. There's plenty of detail in the snow. You do lack some detail on some of the blacks, but that works for me. The trees are kind of silhouetted, so that's okay. But you kept detail in the snow all the way, all over. And again, it looks like some over sharpening and some halos, but I'm not sure that's not a zoom problem or the phone problem itself. So I think I'm just going to let that slide. I'll give this a 9. It's really very well done. 9.
This is Rangaroa's Day's End.
Great color harmonies here with the blues of the sky, the warmth of that light and that little shack out there. And there is a story here because there's one guy sitting out there in that little shack. And that's kind of the story of this image. He's out there all alone. You kind of wonder, what he's doing out there. We don't know if he's going to go out in that boat or not. But the color in this is great. Ordinarily, when the horizon goes right through the middle, that's kind of not a good thing. But it seems to work with this image. You might have cropped down a little bit from the top to move the horizon up, but I'm not sure that it would improve it all that much. But this is really a good storytelling image. I'll give this an 8.
Chilly Sunrise.
As you guys know, I do get to see these ahead of time, so I get to see them on my big monitor. The problem with this image is, and I'm really sorry to say this, it's just not very interesting. There's really, it's about the sunrise, but there's really nothing here to grab your attention. It's just not an image that there's not much of an impact or interest in it. I'm gonna have to give this a 7.
As Shadows Darkened on My iPhone.
My first reaction when I saw this was I think it's artifacts of the phones. It's a little crunchy, a little over sharpened. If I thought this were done with a DSLR, I would have to take that into account. But I think sometimes phones do that. They're just as good as they are. They're not as good as a DSLR. This is a beautiful image. You got the leading line bringing you in from the left right down to Shiprock. A great sky. A clear blue sky would have ruined this image, but you got those beautiful clouds there. Nice low sun. So the way Shiprock is illuminated is beautiful. It's there's a lot of noise in the sky, and again, I think that's a lot of iPhone stuff because it's pretty crunchy and looks like it's over sharpened. But I think that has to do more with the phone than the photographer. I'll give this a 9. Beautiful image.
After Blizzard Blooms and Branches.
Well, it's good use the great color harmonies here with the hot reds and the deep blues. That really sets this off. And the placement of the sun behind the branch with air, so everything's backlit. That's a very creative shot. And I think making it square might be a good idea. I think if that were elongated, I'm not sure it would really work. Square format really works with this. I'll give this an 8.
Wednesday's Ashes.
This is really a great image. It's disgusting, isn't it? It really is. Oh my God. It's almost an abstract of all the cigarette butts. When I first opened this up at home, it took me a second to realize what it was before I read the title. And So kudos to the photographer for seeing this and making an image of this. It's really well done. It's lit well. There's kind of a vignette around it. I don't know if that was natural or put in after. It doesn't matter, but it really brings your eye right into the middle of that with all those butts. I'm going to give this is a 9. This is really well done. I like it a lot. 9.
Cherry Fever.
Well, it was taken at the right time. It's obviously a low sun, which brings out the detail in the blossoms here. And it's a pretty image, but I'm not sure where my eye's supposed to go. I know in some images the image itself is the subject, and this is kind of that. My eye kind of wanders around looking for a place to settle. The good part of this is that those blooms that are closest to us are definitely in sharp focus. They look great, and then it kind of fades off to the background. But it's just not an image that holds my interest much. You know, you kind of look at it and then you're done. I'll give this a 7.
The title I have is Street of Umbrellas.
Yeah, this is very cool. The colors of the umbrellas. At first, when I looked at it, I thought, well, maybe it's one of those things where the photographer took the saturation slider and went a little too far to the right. And if that's the case, I think maybe that even works here. The color of those umbrellas certainly is saturated. My only concern was how saturated the colors were down there at the base of it. But nevertheless, it's really a great street image with the decorations up there. I like this one. I'll give this a 9. That's really well done. It's a cool image.
Knitting.
I really like this one. Get right down there on the knitting needles and the yarn. Doing it in black and white was a great idea. You got 2 leading lines of the knitting needles, bringing your eye right into the center there, which is of course the focus of our attention. And you've got the tones from really some of the bright whites on the needles to some of the dark blacks in the yarns. So good tonal range on this. And it's a very creative shot. I'll give this one a 10 also. It's very well done.
And again, this was looking down.
This would have benefited for a lightly lower light angle to bring out the texture and the what I assume is the pavement there. But again, it's the image just doesn't have much to grab you, much impact to it. You brought out the green. The green is really cool against that, but this really needed a lower angle on the light. It's very flat lit, and it just doesn't have any interest for me. I'll give this a 7.
An American Chicken.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of this. It's an amusing image, to be sure. It's kind of a nice snapshot, but I don't see a lot of creativity to it. The composition is good with the chicken where it is, with that diagonal line going up to the flag. The flag looks like it's been in battle there, doesn't it? It's had a tough day. I'm going to give this one an 8.
Ice Chandelier.
Well, this is a case of where you put the thing right smack in the middle, make it a bullseye composition, actually works. If you'd tried anything else, it would have been well, it wouldn't have worked. You want something like this to be right smack in the middle, and it does work. Good tones through the black and white. You got some really bright whites, and as you go back through this image, grayer and grayer and grayer tones. That's really good. And the background is good. There's just something I don't know what it is, but there's something out of focus back there that this thing isn't kind of floating in space. It's got some context. I'll give this one an 8.
Landlines.
good title, and it's really a great image with the shadows of those of those cords on the wall, the phone up there in the upper left, and here too you got all the tones from really darks, the right side and in the upper left, and there's plenty of detail onto the wall in the back. So you got all the zones of the zone system there. Really well done, very creative, excellent composition with the phone where it is, the actual phone lines where they are, and then the shadows kind of right down the middle. Great composition, great use of black and white. This is really well done. This one should be printed and put on the wall. I'll give this a 10. Really well done.
This is Walking Leaf. And Fred, after this one, let's stop and look at the 9s and 10s and talk to the makers, please.
Yeah, this is really cool. I just wish we didn't have that little bit of green up on the upper left corner. If we had just had the concrete, the 2 shades of concrete, it would be a 10. But I'm going to give it a 9 because of that. My eye goes up to that green, and there's really no reward up there. But the color of that leaf against the brown pavement, and it does look like it's walking. It's really a wonderful image. And if it had been me, I would have either cropped out that green or cloned it in. You could use the generative fill nowadays, just fill in that green with the pavement that's up there. Then this would have been a good solid 10. But with that green up there for no good reason, I'll give this a 9. Other than that, really great image. I love it.
All right, let's take a look at some 9s and 10s. And I don't know, Cliff, if you've got a control on your mic, if you can mute it, or if Bill, you can control that so that we're catching the people in the room, because a few of the people are out of these images are in the room. Let's go to our first one there. So zooming by was Dan Greenberg.
Yeah, that was, since I knew I was going to have to try to do a picture with my phone, that wasn't just a snapshot or a picture of food to send to my wife or something like that. This is in the Washington Metro, taken in February and stuff like that. And believe it or not, other than the hardest part, I spent most of the time on this just getting it off the phone and onto my computer. Trying to get that figured out.
I know, that was the last challenge.
Google Drive and all the other stuff. But anyway, basically all I did is I did one little filter that increased the contrast and color a little bit, and that's it.
Looks good.
Oh,
Nice. It's a really cool image, Dan.
Wasn't quite so yellow. That's the other thing.
Inside lighting.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Thanks, Cliff.
You won $10.
Worth it.
We're missing another one there, Mountain Getaway. So Mountain Getaway, this is Bill Williams.
Yes, that's taken at the Loveland ski area, off of one of the lifts going up to that chalet that's there. Just typically, it's you get there and there's all kinds of tracks in the snow and everything, and this was right in the beginning of the morning, and nobody had been up skiing in it, and it was just one of those rare times when you could get a good clean picture. Did sharpen it up a little bit to try to even out the snow and whatnot, but not much was done to it.
What result?
Thanks, Cliff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, if that halo came from sharpening or if it's just an artifact of the phones.
I'm actually not sure. I'll have to take a look at it when I get back.
Yeah, take a look. You can see the white line around the roof, right?
Yeah, yep, you can.
Because if that were with a DSLR, that's not acceptable.
Right,
But
yeah,
with a phone, maybe that's just the phone.
could be.
You're dealing with a 72 DPI file, so it's, unless you shot it in RAW, which most people don't. So you get a lot of weird stuff that 72 does.
Okay, we won't really have a discussion about 72 DPI because that's just a piece of metadata that means
Good, 'cause
nothing.
I was about to hit the ceilings, but go ahead.
Yeah, because pixels are the only things that count. DPI really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Right?
That's a piece of information that only software like InDesign or other layout programs would actually use. Okay, back on track here. This is As Shadows Darken on My iPhone from Terry Hanford.
Nice technical difficulty night.
Yes, it sounds like it. Let's go ahead and carry on, and maybe we can get back to Terry if he gets his audio fixed. Wednesday's Ashes. This was from Bob Bartlett.
Interesting enough, this was shot outside a grocery store to the receiver's office where they bring in food. Interesting.
Well, luckily it wasn't at your house, that's why.
I tried this in black and white, but I lost the punch, so I kept the color and toned it down a little bit.
I think that was a good choice. That's a good image.
Good disgusting image.
Nice. And Street of Umbrellas. This is from Bill Dixon.
Yeah, this was taken in Quebec City, and coming around the corner, and wow, right in front of me, I came across this great picture, and I've made a few adjustments and straightened it out, but other than that, it's what you see is what it is.
So tell us the truth. Did you bump up the saturation?
Not much, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, kind of looking at the shadows, the time of day would be, looks like it either early morning or late afternoon or something, that you can have a little bit more yellow that really pop that building in the background and
Yeah.
enhance some other colors too.
Uh-huh.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
And knitting is from Mark Rockkind.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that, with the meeting coming up, I said to my partner, I said, okay, I have to use my phone. I hate my phone. I hate taking pictures with my phone. Nothing is bad, but that's what they want. So that's what I'm going to do. She left the room and there was her knitting. So my phone obviously was with me. Well, that's a benefit of a phone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, took the picture. It was terrible. It's awful. But I put it in Lightroom and then Silver Effects Pro, and in black and white, it works.
Yeah, sure does.
It totally, if you saw the color, you would have given it a 7. But
Yeah.
Black and white, it's made for black and white. So this is a good exercise for me because maybe phone is not so bad.
It's another camera that you can use, and with the right software, then it really enhances what you can do with it too. So this is a really cool image. And I love black and white too. Landlines. This is from Steve Wilton.
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. I took this about a month ago. I knew this topic was coming up, and I was intrigued by the idea of a phone taking a picture of a phone. This is from the Landline Donut Shop in Longmont. It's crazy. It's a coffee shop, donut shop, independently owned, of course. And the guy who runs it is a fan. He collects old landlines, so it's almost like a museum in there. And this is the morning sun coming in through the main window there that caught those shadows. Thanks.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. When I first saw this, I was kind of wondering if this was one of your 2 a.m. walking around the house photos.
No, I've upgraded my phone since then.
Okay, good. And then Walking Leaf. This is Victoria Ashby.
Yes, this was in the fall, and I was taking a walk around the reservoir, taking pictures of some leaves, and I shot that, and it wasn't until I got it home that it made me laugh because it did look like it was walking. And I need to listen to my husband. He told me I should have took the blue out, and I got lazy, didn't do it. But thank you for your comments.
All right. Yeah, that's a really cool image.
Thank you.
All right. I suppose we shall carry on. This is, are there zebras in the water?
This is really cool. If it weren't for the reflection, it would be kind of a boring image of a little walkway, a little pier out there. But boy, the reflection in the water with what the texture of the water has done to the reflection is makes this a really cool image. I think if you'd done this in color, it wouldn't be nearly as good. And again, there's a great use of the whole tonal range from some really deep blacks under the bridge, and then plenty of range out in the water. I'm going to give this a 10. I couldn't stop looking at this. It's just a great, very creative image. Good job. 10.
I'm upset long exposure is possible with a phone.
Yeah, you can do long exposure with the phone. This is a pretty good image. The real problem with this is, like with many landscape images, the lighting is everything. And this is kind of midday, so the lighting is really pretty flat. And a better sun angle would have brought the detail out in those rocks, and the white of the water would have popped out a little bit more. And it is kind of a bullseye, you know, the waterfall is right smack in the middle. But of course I wasn't there, so I'm not sure how doing it in more of a landscape orientation as opposed to the vertical here, how that might have changed it. So I'll give this a 7. It needs better light.
Geometry lesson.
Yeah, this is really cool and good for the photographer for not running those beams either straight, horizontal, or vertical. So running them on a diagonal through the image really makes the image. And then the colored reflectors in the light bulbs, different colors. It's a very cool composition. Great use of the color, and I give this a 9. It's really well done. It's a very interesting image, and I'm glad you ran those beams diagonally instead of straight across or straight up and down.
Bountiful.
This to me it's a near miss. It's a good image, but it's too bright. And I don't mean overexposed. I don't mean that. It needs to have been lit. It's kind of the lighting's kind of flat, first of all. And if the lighting had been, and I can tell by the shadows of the grapes about where the light was. So the light was just over our left shoulder a little bit there, a little camera left. If it had been moved farther to the left and maybe a little higher, we get a little bit more dimension out of there, and maybe not quite so bright. It certainly isn't a bad image, but like I said, it's just kind of a near miss. And then we've got that light coming in from the right side. Look at the bananas. You can see the right side of those bananas is pretty bright. And I'm not sure why you needed a kicker light in this. A minor nit to pick is you cut off where that whisk or whatever it is down there. I'm not sure how that adds to the image, by the way. I'm not sure what that has to do with fruit. But that aside, your eye kind of goes down there, and the strands of the whisk just kind of take your eye right out of the image. So it's really close to it. It's a nice image, but it's just a miss. But it's still, I'll give it an 8. It's all about the light.
Impressive impressionism.
Okay, what makes this image is the little girl with the phone. Otherwise, it would be kind of, yeah. But with her in there with the phone, trying to take a picture of this, I mean, the colors of the of whatever that is, I mean, it's very cool. But the color on the guy's jacket is nice. But her sitting there taking a picture of this, that's the center of them. That's the subject of this image. It would have been nice if you could have come up with a title that included her. I mean, the title's fine, but it would have been really cool if you had a title that emphasized her, because she is the subject of this image. It's a good capture. I'm going to give this 9.
Oozing brown.
It sounds like a country singer's name, doesn't it? Oozing brown. You know, I looked at this for a long time after trying to figure out just how to rate this, because it's a cool image, and the center is up there kind of in the upper third over there to the left, which is good rather than being smack in the middle. The exposure is excellent. You got plenty of detail. The deep blacks are the cracks, and that's appropriate. You didn't blow any of the whites, the lighter areas out. but it doesn't really hold a lot of interest. It's a good image, but it doesn't really hold a lot of interest. Certainly the brown or almost gold really adds to the image. I'll give this an 8. It's a good solid image.
Really could use a toe.
I really like this. It's and I know when I saw it on my computer, the reds are a little richer than they are here. But to take this while the snow is falling, you can see the flakes. Yeah, this is really well done, and the dead center composition works like a charm with this. Plenty of detail in the whites and that snow. It's really well done. I give this a 9. It's a great image. 9.
A night on the town.
Here's my problem when I see images like this. It's an excellent I was there image. And the building is really cool. And the reflections of the gold in the water is really cool. But we as photographers really had nothing to do with much. It's just kind of, you could have been walking by, pulled the phone out, taking a picture. So there isn't anything wrong with the image, but it's kind of a travel image, the building. And it is composed well. It's not dead center, but I'm stuck with having to give this a 7.
Enjoying the morning sun.
Yep, there's the sun. Well, again, what we have here is, I mean, it's an interesting image. It's certainly cool to see all those turtles or tortoises, or is it tortoise, lined up on the log. That's really cool. And they are the subject, but had the photography been lower, maybe, I mean, it's again, it's kind of the photographer didn't do a whole lot on this one there's not much creativity in it. They were there, you take a picture of it. I might have cropped out that tree on the left there a little bit. That your eye kind of goes over there and you catch that bright tree. The tree that's in the middle, that's okay. That kind of frames them. I'll go along with that. But they're just, the turtles, the tortoises are just not a major picture of a major portion of the picture. But it's still a good image. I'll give it an 8. But a better angle would have gotten a better score.
Evening light.
Well, I'm not sure where to look. And I'm not sure what the subject is in this picture. We got the furled awnings up close. We got the green awnings out there. Got people in the background. Then we got the buildings up at the top up there. It's a nice environmental image. I mean, again, as a travel image, it's good, but there's not a lot of interest in this image. I'm gonna have to give this a 7.
Antenna under sun and snow.
Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, this is a simple image. Plenty of detail in the snow, which could be really bright. Fortunately, you had those clouds in the sky to give some detail there. The little end, I guess you say it was an antenna, that antenna with the snow on it down there. And then the shadow of the building on the right there coming into the snow. It's kind of a graphic design. I think it was really good to see this. It's composed well, keeping that antenna down in the corner down there. I like this a lot. I'm gonna give this a 9 also. It's well done. Nice control of the light.
We'll keep the light on.
Well, it's certainly an interesting image. We don't usually see the filaments in the light bulb like that. That's pretty cool. And it's well composed. And I like the orange paint up there at the top, the paint speckles in there. So the good color in this. But I really can't score this any higher than an 8. It's a good image. It's an 8.
Tommy.
Now, I don't know how many people in this room understand the cultural references here, but
A few of us do. Yep.
yeah, the pinball wizard, right? That title makes this image. Titles, in my opinion, titles really shouldn't hurt an image if you give it a dumb title. But and people do give dumb titles sometimes, like they put in foreign words that you don't understand. That's you shouldn't do that. but the pinball wizard, Tommy the pinball wizard, really makes the image. Almost a monochromatic magenta in this thing. You know, when I first saw it, I thought, well, that's kind of a cool image. And then I saw the title, I got, oh, that's really cool, Tommy. That's good. So because of the title, this gets a 9. Because it tells the story, you know, and part of an image, when you can, should tell a story. And if this had been titled Guy at Pinball, no, not. But naming it Tommy with that cultural references, very well done. It's a 9.
Circa 1917 barn.
This is really a good image. If that door had been closed or open all the way, it would have been an entirely different image. But that crack in the door with that light coming in and what the pattern on the, this is very cool image and good eye for seeing this. The pitchfork makes the image. It's kind of a monochromatic brown. I mean, it's just really a well done image. It's so simple. To me, it tells a story. There's a farmer there that got this old barn or this old house, whatever it is, and that's his tool hanging on the wall. The minute I saw this, I gave it a 10, and that holds tonight. I'll stick with my 10. Really well done. I love it.
Well, I know you guys want to play musical chairs or whatever in at Lone Tree, but can we, before we break, go ahead and talk to the 7 people that we've got with 9s and 10s here, and then we'll take a quick break.
Sure, we can do that. Sure.
All right, so we're going back to the Zebras in the Water, and this is from Nancy Shepard. Okay, now I didn't see Nancy on Zoom, but she did say the image was taken in the afternoon at Guntersville Lake, Alabama. I was inspired by the March lecture on black and white photography and edited the photo in Snapseed, which is a wonderful mobile app for editing photos. Geometry lesson. This is from Brian Donovan.
Yeah, I took this in Stavanger, Norway last summer and edited it in Lightroom. Gave those globes a little bit more color and had to turn on one of the light bulbs. Thanks for your comments.
You bet.
Isn't that nice that you can turn on a light bulb using digital tools? That's great.
Yeah, it
It
is.
saves a lot of electricity that way too.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yep. Impressive Impressionism. This is from Ben Hernandez.
So first of all, thanks for the 9. I appreciate it, and I kind of agree with you. I actually wanted to bring you into the title, but I'm not absolutely convinced that a title matters that much. I mean, what is in a name, right? If you were to see an image from a guy in, I don't know, Timbuktu, right, and they title it based on their language, would the image be anything less because you cannot understand what they're saying? So once again, I appreciate the 9. I certainly do, and I kind of agree with you that the title means something, but I don't think the title should add to the image. That's my opinion, but thank you.
Well, you're right, but they can add to the image if you tell the viewer what the story is. It can really help. In terms of judging, though, I agree that titles really shouldn't help or hurt an image, but they can.
The subliminal.
Since we have to name them, you're stuck with having to do it, and therefore a good title can help an image.
Fair enough, but what about the old idiom? You know, that an image is worth 1,000 words. But once again, maybe this is not the forum. I would love to be able to have a conversation about this with you at a later time.
Sure.
I'm very appreciative, and once again, I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No, you're not.
I'm just curious as far as I'm more curious than judgmental, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Well, I will just say that yes, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but the title can maybe help the viewer see what those words should be.
Fair enough.
Okay, our next one really could use a toe. This is from Todd Lytle.
I was in Telluride. No, I wasn't in Telluride. I don't even know where I was. It was snowing. It was a long travel.
All the places look the same when they're snowing.
I took these crazy people on a crane tour and then I went off on my own. I went to Uray and then I went over $1 million highway and down into Silverton, and it started to snow. It was snowing pretty, I mean, all that accumulation was from just a few minutes. And that is a tow truck that's at the, whatever county that is, San Juan County Historical Museum. But it was snowing pretty hard. I was just asked Cliff, what things might he do differently or suggest? We know the red looked better on a real monitor.
Yeah, well, so are you saying why not a 10?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to improve something.
Well, because, I mean, I wasn't really trying to be facetious when I said because it's a 9. It just, to me, for an image to get a 10, it really has to have a lot of impact. It's impact.
Yeah.
And this impact on this image is good, but it's not, it's kind of fleeting, the impact. You kind of look at, ooh, and then, oh, okay, no, it's still a good image. But the impact doesn't, and for me, it doesn't last. But be happy with your 9.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for the explanation and more. This antenna under sun and snow is from Kyle Derlin.
Thank you, Cliff, for the comments. This is an improbably tight crop. I was able actually to press the phone up against my kitchen window. This is my neighbor's house. And so hold it. So therefore the phone didn't move even a little bit. And that's how I was able to keep that detail in the snow. You guys would be shocked if you saw the original. I mean, this is just super tight crop. Thank you so much, Cliff. I really appreciate the comments.
Yes, sir.
And Tommy, this is from Sean Slade. I don't think Sean is on this evening. Of course, he's traveling all the time usually, which affords him the opportunity to find images like this. Sean wrote that walking through the old market in Omaha, I happened upon the game room and just loved the leading lines, the neon colors, and a single person in there enjoying a game of pinball. I'm guessing that he plays a mean pinball too.
I'm guessing he does.
He's a wizard.
So, obviously, yeah, exactly. Obviously, Sean knew what he's doing when he titled that image. And our final one, circa 1917 barn, is from Bill Dixon.
Yeah, this is in northeastern Washington, south of Spokane. And we were traveling the back roads and saw this old barn. And we asked permission if we could go inside. And there's a lot of fantastic opportunities in here. And he came across around the corner and saw this picture with the light coming through the door, and thought it looked like a great picture. So there it is.
Yeah, it is.
Fantastic. Well, very nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, we only have about 11 images left, but let's go ahead and take a quick 5, and you guys do what you got to do in the room. And we'll see you back shortly. Everybody else can get up and get a drink of water or grab whatever you need. We'll see you back in 5. Okay, are we all set and all ready?
Yep.
We're ready.
Okay. Hopefully everybody on Zoom is ready too. This is shadow seating.
This is really good. The shadow of that bench. I mean, it is so simple, but it's really a great graphic piece. I mean, I could see this as a big print on the wall. It's an exquisite image in my opinion. It's really well done. Obviously, I'm going to give it a 10. I can't say enough good about this. The composition, the black and white tones from the blacks through the grays is perfect. It's a dynamite image, 10 for sure. I just love it.
Weathering beautifully in Vermont.
It's certainly great color here. Great sky with the clouds instead of a empty sky. Fall colors both on the barn and in the trees. And that nice diagonal line coming down there I think it used to be a fence line. I see posts, but no fence. I mean, it's a nice overall image. The color's great. Composition is good with the barn over there where it is. It's a good solid image, 8.
Yin Yang Spaniels.
Really cool image. Very clever. The real nit I have to pick is it is cropped so tight, especially the dog down there on the bottom. I wish we had just another inch or so there. Just really pushed right up against him or her. I realize you had what you had when you took the picture, and if you'd have tried to move whatever that is in front of them, that probably waking them up. But that's a pretty small detail. The composition with their colors, the way it's lit, you got the light is coming from above there, so it really brings out the texture in their coats. If it weren't quite so compressed up against them, I'd give it a 10. But I'm going to give it a 9. There needs to be a little breathing room around them, so a 9.
Swan Lake.
Can you remember? This is just my opinion. But the photographer was about 2 or 3 seconds too soon or too late. If that other swan didn't have its head in the water, it would have been a better image. I mean, it's kind of cool with the red boats, and the green tones in the water and the whites of the swans. But the swans really they're the subject. The boats are kind of supporting players up there. And I just wish we didn't have the head underwater. I mean, it just doesn't work. But still, it's a good image. I give this a 7.
Heat about to close.
This image is the best of show. This, if the photographer had the whole body of that person, it wouldn't be near as good. This is so simple. There's enough blur in the body of the person to show that he's moving fast. The graphics of the moving sidewalk there, the silver and black, the black and white tones are just perfect. There's detail in the highlights, good grays. This is an outstanding image. And, I think I think I see these halos, but after looking at a bunch of images today, I'm convinced it's either the phone or just some compression problems, because we don't ordinarily see that. You see that halo around the bottom of the bag there. This is just a very creative, it's an outstanding image. I'll give this an 11. 10. 10 and a half, yeah.
Nostalgia.
It's been a long time since green stamps, hasn't it? Man, it's a long time ago. The color's great in this. Here's my problem when I see images like this. This isn't quite the same as looking at somebody else's artwork, but it's close.
Yes, it is.
Almost everything in this that's interesting was done by somebody other than the photographer. All that stuff that's in there was hung by somebody else. The color was somebody else. In short, other than pushing a button, the photographer didn't do much. That's true of some of the other images that I've talked about. It's a cool image. It's pretty. The color's great and everything. But other than the impact of the cool color, it doesn't really tell me much. I'll have to give this a 7.
Right there with you.
Clever title. A Day at the Farmer's Market. The farmer that was there did you a favor by arranging the colors just right. putting those green items in, the darker red along with all the other reds. So that's good. It's hard not to like this image because of the color and all the different textures that are in there. But again, it's a case of you kind of got what was in front of you. I'll give this a 7.
When the hike is too long to carry a real camera.
This is a great image. I want you to look at the toes at the bottom. They mimic the mountain at the top. Even the left foot, which is on the right side there, kind of mimics the other little mountain that's off to the side there. The image has one problem, and that is the mountain needs a little space above it. It's just cropped so tight. It's a tall mountain, that's right. But this is very clever to show the feet there. You sit down there and relax. Great sky. I'm really torn between 9 and 10 because of the mountain being so close to the edge. Because your eye kind of goes up there and right out of the image. Just there's nothing above it. I'm feeling very God, I hate to do it, but I'm going to give it a 10. Oh my God, did the right job. Oh, jeez. I'm going to give it a 10, but you should have had room above the mountain.
Look at the depth of field on that.
Yeah, the depth of field is great, but that's, yeah.
This is
Very clever.
Old Glory still shines bright.
Very clever here. But I love where the sun is shining through there. It looks like the stars all are coming out of the sun. Looks like it's shot with a pretty wide angle lens. It's a beautiful image. A great angle. They're shooting up on it like that. Very clever to put the sun where you did, right there, smack in the middle. And the textures and the stripes. This should be printed and put on the wall. I mean, it's definitely a 10. It's very well thought out, well printed, very well done. I give this a 10. Love it.
Be the new forever stamp.
The new forever stamp. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
This one is Ducks.
I have no idea what that means. Ducks. So that's not really a good title. It doesn't help me. It gives me no guidance. This would be better without a title. This is really a good image. A couple things. The black and white treatment is superb. When we got blacks, we got whites, we got all the tones in the middle. But I'll tell you what would make this image a 10 is if he were turned and looking at me, maybe putting his arm on that desk and looking at me. Then you've got a wonderful environmental portrait. And I looked at the titles on some of these books. There's obviously there is nothing that ties those books together. There's art books, and this is something about amphibians and reptiles down here, and there's something out there about marketing high tech. There's a great story in there, which would be told if he were looking at us. I'm going to give this a 9, but I'd give it a 10 if we actually made this an environmental portrait and he were looking at us. That would complete the story. Right now, you're kind of wondering all about it, but the photography and the use of the black and white and the way it's been developed is very well done. It's a 9.
This will be our final image of the evening. It's 3 floors down with reflections.
Yeah, this is cool, and it's cool when you look at the circular patterns in the carpeting. And you see them in one level, and you go down the next level. There they are, and then down at the lower level, they're a different color. It's a really cool perspective of this probably a hotel or office building, whatever it is. But it's a cool view of the 3 floors. I say 3 floors down. And a good use of color too, with the grays of the border, and then the orange and yellows in the middle. Another layer of grays, then the silver, and then the layers of brown. So good use of looking at the colors. I'll give this an 8.
All right. So we have 5 or 6 images to show that got 9s and 10s since our break. There we go. Shadow seating. And this is from Mark Rockkind.
I'm I'm a new member of the club and this is my first competition. I just want to say how much I love this club. So I finished my phone photography for the competition and I took a walk around town. For me, that's Estes Park. That's where I live with my camera. And I came upon this and I said to myself, oh, wait, I have a phone in my pocket. So I did it with my phone. And I put it in Lightroom and then Silver Effects. But I really wanted the texture of the wall. That was essential. Get the texture of the wall. Had to be black and white. I mean, it's monochromatic anyway. So it worked.
Yeah, it did. Great image.
Yeah, it's good to spot that and then to realize, oh wait, this would be perfect for this particular competition.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good, Mark. Yin Yang Spaniels. This is from David Besson.
I stumbled upon our two dogs sleeping on the footstool, and I knew if I walked back and got my camera, they probably would have moved or been awakened. So I pulled the phone out of my pocket, and I got as high above them as I could to get space, but there was other furniture around, which led to the close crop.
Yeah.
And as you said, Cliff, if I moved like the table, you can see the edge of it at the bottom.
Yeah.
If I moved that, I would have awakened them.
Yeah,
but these dogs were brothers, and actually, you've seen the black and white one. And I submitted a motion picture of him last year. So, but thanks for your comments.
Yeah, you bet.
So who watched the dogs when you were gone for a few days?
Unfortunately, those two dogs are no longer with us. So.
Oh, that's too bad.
Too bad.
They were old.
So you took the balloon and had them sleep. That's not very nice.
Taxidermy.
Okay, the exclaimed best of show from Cliff. This is Gate About to Close from Steve Wilton.
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. Yeah, this was obviously spontaneous. When you're stuck in the airport, you're kind of bored, so the iPhone's just great for that. Anyway, there's a lot of Photoshop work in the background. There were many distractions in the background. And I want to thank Mark Rockand, who saw this about a week ago. He noticed yet another distraction in the background. I got rid of that so we could focus on the escalator itself and the guy moving. But thank you very much. It's at DIA, of course.
Very good. Well, congratulations, Steve. You've impressed Cliff.
Thank
you. When the hike is too long to take your real camera is from Jenna Dockweiler. And I don't think Jenna is on this evening. But she did write, the title is actually a lie. I did drag my real camera up to Lone Eagle Peak near Granby, but it is an 18-mile round trip backpacking hike, and my phone did almost as well. That's a really cool image. And part of the reason for doing this competition, too, is to maybe for some people show them that a phone camera is very capable. This Old Glory Still Shines Bright is from Brian Donovan.
Yeah, I was replacing my flag one day, and I looked up at it, and I saw the sun hitting that one star, and I said, "Oh, that'd be pretty good." So I pulled out my phone and took it, and I edited it in Snapseed and Distressed FX.
Very cool.
Very nice image. And our final one, Ducks, is from Ben Henderson, who recently said something about titles of an image not really mattering. So,
yeah, no comment on the title. But just for clarification, Dux means leader in Latin, and it just happens to be the nickname of the guy who was being portrayed here. Now, I would agree with you that if we were to turn around, but see, this is where I was talking about earlier. It's like, there's some of the images that I take mean something to me. Now, Dux, it's one of my very good friends, but he's one of the most introvert persons that I've met in my life. So the fact that he's not looking at the camera makes a portrait for me. But I understand, and once again, I do appreciate the fact that we're doing this to tell a story, to be able to to evoke and to say something, right? I mean, without me going into big words, but no, I do appreciate your comments. Once again, I appreciate the 9. But now you know that Dux, it's leader in Latin.
Never use foreign words and titles.
Well, I just happened to love the fact that there's just a whole bunch of countries and cultures out there, and I'm not shy to use them when it suits the image, in my view. But once again, I appreciate you. Thank you, Cliff.
He really uses those monitors?
That's what the computer.
Well, this was at the Meow Wolf here in Denver, by the way.
Antiques.
So that's a stunning image, Ben. I'd really like it, and the black and white treatment on it is really just perfect.
Yeah, the black and white treatment is superb.
Yeah, it really does. The way you framed it is superb. I like the way
Yeah.
the books all frame everything.
Well,
Yeah, it looks really.
that is it. That concludes our festivities for this evening. So you guys at Lone Tree can get out of the dark now.
Yeah.
They did a test run for me.
Yeah.
There we go. So Cliff, do you have any final overall comments about the images this evening, or anything about phone photography or anything?
Well, as usual, from this club, I see some really, hang on a second. We're still on the air. I'm sorry. As usual from Focus,
Yeah.
I see some really great images. Whether you're taking them with a DSLR or with a phone, some of you did a really nice job. And on some of the low scores, some of those 7s I gave out, an image that you just were walking by and you take a picture of something, it might be a great memory image for you, but sometimes those images, they just don't have any staying power. As a competition image, they just don't cut it. That's my only view.
All right. Well, thank you for your perspective, and thanks again for judging for us this evening. We very much appreciate it.
Always glad to do it.
Hey, Cliff, I next time I submit an image, before I do it, I'm gonna email it to you so you can help me with the title.
That sounds like a great idea, Ben.
I'll think of a good Latin phrase for you.
Hey, we have about 4,000 other languages that we can explore too. That's fine.
Well, the only thing I will mention, of course, 2 weeks from now, or a few weeks from now, April 10th, we're going to have our program meeting. Robert DeJong is giving a presentation on photography, a creative mindset, which should be quite interesting. And of course, our competition next month is the rule of odds. There's some information in the March newsletter about that. And I'm looking forward to seeing a whole bunch of odd images for next month's competition. All right, does anybody have any questions, comments, or anything else before we run away for the evening?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm selling all my camera equipment. If anybody's looking for anything, I'm just gonna go with a phone now and get rid of all this.
Okay, Mark. Well, well, I think that's a very wonderful idea. I think that we should all maybe just go with the phone for a couple of months and see what we can do.
Okay, now I need to say that I was joking.
I don't think so. I think we got the sarcasm. Thank you.
Okay, good.
So you won't be inundated with emails. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for the guests who came to us this evening, and to our new members and everything else, and for all the people who participated in this competition. We saw some really good images this evening. Have a safe drive home, and for those of you on Zoom, have a safe walk to the next room. Have a good evening, all.
Guys, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.